Welcome to the Thinking Out Loud podcast, where I talk about research, note taking, personal knowledge management, and learning how to learn. My name is Bianca Pereira, and now our goal here is just to start a conversation. So I'm literally thinking out loud. In today's episode, we talk about intellectual autonomy and what are the other types of autonomy that it may interact with. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. This is my first thinking out loud. And as you can see, there is no need to show your camera. You can just talk through. There is no need for preparation. The idea is just like share whatever you want to share with others. So today I want to talk a little bit about intellectual autonomy in relation to other autonomy. So what are the types of autonomies? Because to me, intellectual autonomy is just the first step towards a life of what I call radical autonomy, right? So the idea of radical autonomy is that you have autonomy in different parts of life. Okay, so that's the main goal, or my personal goal, I would say. Um, and for me, autonomy is the decision making power. Okay, I have a decision making power over something. Okay, so intellectual autonomy is I have decision making power over my belief system. I don't just accept what someone says without reflecting on it, without seeing how it fits with my beliefs, without even questioning my beliefs. Okay, there's nothing like given about that. It's always like the knowledge is always improving. So intellectual autonomy to me is having the power to decide what I want to know, what my belief system is. Okay, the things that I learn. But there are other types of autonomy as well that I care about. So another one, very related, is creative autonomy, which to me is what are my decision making power to decide what am I creating to the world, what am I providing to the world. People talk about providing value like to others. So that's kind of like creative autonomy and create, but it's more than that. It's not just like selling things or creating product, providing people value. There is something else more there, something that Patrick Bonnier once told about it. I was like, wow, that's awesome. Which is this idea that there's a process of self-expression as well. It's like it's an expression of ourselves to the world. It's not almost like a materialization of a part of ourselves. So that's kind of creative autonomy. One way to understand more concrete way is like a person with no creative autonomy is a person who gets a job and their boss just say you need to do this and that. Okay, you don't have any say on how things work or what you're creating. You just need to create whatever your boss told you to create, exactly the way that your boss told you to create. That's a life with zero creative autonomy. What is a life with maximum, maybe like creative autonomy or very high creative autonomy, is when you can decide what you can create. What are you doing in your days? What are the things that you are building? Okay, can be knowledge that you are building, can be relationships, can be a craft. It's something like what's your form of expression to the world, what you're creating to the world and providing value. Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Everyone is valuable. So just by expressing yourself, there's something out. There's something you're creating out of that. This I need to think more about. I'm actively thinking about this one. Okay. So intellectual, creative, then comes the financial autonomy as well. Okay, there I have been exploring the connection between them. There is a lot of connection between those three. Financial autonomy based in decision making on what I can do, not just with my money, but with my resources. Okay, I have been thinking a lot about resources because knowledge is a resource, skill is a resource. The places that we own, owning is kind of weird. Well, we own a place, but then we own is a resource. Our time is a resource. So do I have the power to decide what I do with my resource? And then comes a question which is kind of financial, kind of creative. It's like, how do I grow my financial? How do I grow my resource? There's a question about trading. How do I trade my resource with other people's resource? How do people? So there's a lot you can talk more about it later. So let's leave it like that. uh, there is also social autonomy. Okay, with whom I want to be engaging with. Like, do I need to be in a toxic environment? Yeah, like no one wants to be in a toxic environment, right? So how much I have a power to decide with whom I'm talking to. So this community is kind of my way of having a little bit of social autonomy. I want to be with the people who are here, those are my people. Yeah. So it's kind of create that space as well. So it's like how much you can decide with whom you want to engage with. Okay, that's social autonomy. For some people, this is the core. Then there is temporal autonomy. You can think about Tim Ferriss. Okay, it's like, what do I do with my time? Do I have the power to decide what I will be doing right now, or am I overcommitted? I committed too much, and now my time is not mine anymore. Even if I want to be doing something else, I can't because I committed. Or yeah, basically I committed. Like whatever you do with I was a committed to. Like if you go to a job and the job say you need to be here 9 to 5, you have very little temporal autonomy. Not because people are forcing you, but because you committed to that job. Right? At the end, it's like we had the power to decide to commit, and now we don't have the power to change that commitment. Whereas people who have high flexibility with their time, they can decide like, today I want to do something different, so I can change. Yeah, I have more temporal autonomy. So another one is spatial. Okay, where do I want to be? Like, do I need to be in my city? Can I move around the world? Can I be wherever I want to be? Like, our environment constrains us. Like, if I need to go to another country, don't know how to speak the language. Can I get a visa? Do I have money? You know, how much we have spatial autonomy? How much can I say? Can I interfere in my space? Not just where I am, but what my space look like. The visual clutter, noise. How much power, how much autonomy we have in relation to our space. And then the last one, I'm calling philosophical. Not sure if that's the best name. You can say the last one was the biggest one. It's like, what is our version of success? Our version of success inherited, or we decided what it is? Okay, it's not that we need to have it figured out, but like, are we the ones deciding it as we go, as we are living? It changes over time, of course, but is our definition of success just taking from others, or we are building our definition of success, which is very related to intellectual autonomy as well? Because if you don't have intellectual autonomy or philosophical, it's just we take from others, right? Someone said big successful is having like tons of money, or big successful is to be at home taking care of your kids and take care of your husband, or big successful is whatever it is that other people say. Okay, so if you don't have intellectual autonomy, yeah, we probably don't have philosophical autonomy either. Because that's, even when you have intellectual autonomy, you may not have philosophical autonomy because you never stop to think about it. Yeah. So yeah, so when I'm in my life, I'm building this idea of radical autonomy, and to me, everything starts. I mean, my angle is that everything starts with intellectual autonomy. If we cannot think for ourselves, like how can you even think about those other things? If we're just accepting what others are saying. I mean, of course, I can just accept whatever Tim Ferriss say, and then I will have temporal autonomy without having intellectual autonomy. Yeah, that can happen. Or it may not happen because my life is not like him, my personality is not like his, or I'm not willing to do the things he does. And does he actually have temporal autonomy? Yeah, or he just like, if he's working a lot per day because he wants to, so in that case he has temporal autonomy. But if I decide to follow the steps he's taking, would I have temporal autonomy, or just be following the steps he's taking? This kind of thing. So that's what I have been thinking about. And I have something else to share, but I think I'll talk in another thinking out loud. Okay. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about this. Like, does it make sense? I have so much to talk about it. I'll create many other videos, so I don't want this to be too long. But yeah, this I think out loud. Whatever you want to say, share your screen or just speak to the camera, send audio, write it, an article, whatever you want to be. Just share your ideas. What is it that you are learning? Maybe do a summary of what you're learning. Maybe share what you are creating, what you have been reflecting about, and maybe other that you would like to have a discussion with others. I would love to have a discussion about this. So if you have any ideas, just share in the comments. Thanks a lot. Talk soon. The Thinking Out Loud podcast is a spin off of the Thinking Cafe, a home for independent learners who wants to build the skills, the systems, and the practice of intellectual autonomy. So if you want to engage in more discussions about the topics that we are talking about here and have access to exclusive Think Out Loud episodes, just join us at thinkingcafe.co. I hope to meet you there.